Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto live stream. And today a lot happened. I have so much stuff open you don't even want to know, but I'm trying out a different strategy, alright? From right now, I'm gonna try post as many live streams as possible because the thing is, I never edit my videos. I always just talk exactly about what's going on, and so I'm gonna try a little bit of a live stream format for the next couple of days, see how I'm liking it, if my internet/MacBook allows for it, but stay tuned, alright? Stay tuned, it might get really interesting, and let's just get started. So, yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Welcome everybody for coming in the chat box. I really appreciate. Hey, Crypto Rover is even in the chat. Hey, what's up, man? That's I'm pretty scared right now. So, yeah, lots been going on. And I'm not even sure what the title is anymore. But to start off, Jpmorgan sees signal of coming bear market in Bitcoin. To me, this is one of the most interesting things that came out in a little while. Why? Because I'm lying to you. Jpmorgan has said this stuff so ridiculously many times. Yet, you know the amount of panic that was going on surrounding this article and surrounding the Jpmorgan analysts? Specifically, I believe 4 weeks ago or so, Jpmorgan let go of reports, and the amount of people that talked to me about it was insane. Right now, again, a new report from a Jpmorgan strategist came out. We believe that the return to backwardation in recent weeks has been a negative signaling point to a bear market. By Jpmorgan strategists led by Nicolas Zagzolu wrote in a note. They added that Bitcoin's relatively depressed share of total crypto market value is another concerning trend. And I would firmly disagree with this one, but alright. The Jpmorgan analysis is based on the 21-day rolling average of the second Bitcoin futures spread over spot prices, and pointed out the Bitcoin futures curve was in backwardation for most of 2018. That year, the crypto fell 74% after a boom. Backwardation is an unusual development and a reflection of how weak Bitcoin demand is at the time from institutional investors, who then tend to use contracts listed on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, according to the report. So, what they're saying, as you can see here, trading places, Bitcoin stuck in a range, and Jpmorgan flags bearish future signal. They're saying that according to the futures and what it's looking like, JPM says futures in backwardation now, and were for most of 2018, that was weak year for Bitcoin. They're basically saying that that is exactly where we're heading towards. And I mean, I find it really interesting, you know, on the basis that there's so ridiculously much FUD already, and Jpmorgan just wants to add a little bit of fuel to it. Why am I being so critical towards it? Well, because I follow Jpmorgan closely. And if they were to just have one stance on it being bearish or, having this expectation, it would be all good. But type for yourself in for just a little second, Jpmorgan Bitcoin prediction. And the fun part is, one time they say, Bitcoin will hit $140,000 this year. Then the next article it's saying, Jpmorgan analyst predicts $40,000 this year. Then another analyst says, no, it's going to be $30,000, and so forth and so on. These guys, specifically the banks, are not to be trusted when it comes to Bitcoin. Think about it as well. There's quite a lot of banks who really would like to stay away from Bitcoin altogether because they are scared. Bitcoin, in literal terms, is something that could work with the banks and definitely does have a place there. But then again, initially it was not designed to work with these centralized ledger systems, right? The whole double spend problem, why did it need a decentralized fix? Well, because a bank is literally a centralized place. You know, it has a ledger, it's different. And that's, again, what Bitcoin is here for, so you don't need that anymore. Now, Kevin O'Leary, if you're wondering, he basically now stated that Bitcoin is not a currency. Do we really care what he says? Debatable. He basically said it's a property and not a currency, as you can see right here. Then again, I'm not too sure if I should see that as a bullish or bearish thing. At least he's not saying it's a security, so I'm going to let that one slide. But Jpmorgan is king of fear, and I'm not exactly sure why that's the case and why exactly they're doing that right now. It's most likely strategy, but exactly what it is, I cannot tell you. I really cannot. Then again, they might be right. Don't get me wrong, they might be, but don't be so confusing about it then. If you have a stance, stick with it and don't just keep changing your mind every freaking week. And that's exactly what Jpmorgan has been doing here, and I really, really dislike it. And again, guys, think about the bigger thought there. Maybe Jpmorgan has something planned. I sometimes wonder about that. Then Bitcoin leaps as US officials defend crypto. Movers and shakers. So there's been a couple of things which came out surrounding Bitcoin today. Not actually today, last week. One thing that definitely came out was, of course, the US being able to crack Bitcoin, or Bitcoin not being so untraceable as people expected. Little intervention there. Bitcoin is definitely traceable. Nobody's denying that. You can literally trace it to the bitter end. Then again, crackable or hackable is a different thing. It's referring to the whole gas ordeal with Bitcoin, right? A lot of people are saying that when they went to investigate the US, that they took that money back because they hacked those accounts. I'm still thinking that that's not the case. I still would like to believe that they just followed the money and they had a way out to just get it, but it's really, really difficult. Now, moving on a little bit down below here, as you can see, if we can scroll here, the recovery continues as Hester Pierce, one of the 5 commissioners at U.S. financial regulator SEC, defended crypto against her colleagues' attempts to regulate them in the same way as other financial assets. She told the Financial Times, quote, "I am concerned that the initial reaction of a regulator is always to say, I want to grab hold of this and make it like the markets I already regulate." And that quote is also something we covered yesterday. Why? Well, because the SEC in this ongoing battle with Ripple is also doing kind of the same thing, where they're trying to compare it not to Bitcoin or Ethereum, but to compare it to, for example, a Kick or some other cryptocurrency that's had an ICO before. I think it's really interesting how that's going along, right? Like, the SEC doesn't have the capability as of this point to just think a little step further, and they're trying to regulate and just arrange things in ways they already know how. Like, for example, the Howey test from freaking, I don't know, 1,000 years ago. When was the Howey test started? 60 years ago, 40, 60, 80 years ago? Not really sure exactly how long, but it's definitely been insane. Then, guys, I was already mentioning it in the title. Bitcoin jump liquidates $400 million worth of short crypto positions. More than 70,000 crypto trading orders were liquidated in the last 24 hours. And the reason I'm covering that is because of the price right here. If you have taken a look last couple of hours, you most likely noticed that Bitcoin, again from last couple of days, broke out towards the downside, got a confirmation, once more a little bit of a fake out, came back into the triangle, hit the upside, and now is hitting the downside again. This is a perfect balance as of this point, but I actually wanted to start this stream earlier because, well, then the price is just moving up, and I was like, what is going on here? Are we actually going to break up to the upside, or what's happening? But no, we hit the top side of the triangle perfectly, as you can see right there, before falling back down right now. And I am warning everybody, and I will warn you guys, and I will always do that. People right now, again, take good notice of this. Take good notice of this. People right now are all anticipating this death cross to happen relatively shortly here, and so it's not too crazy if the price gets another push towards the downside. If the death cross is really that negative, that's to be seen. I have another whole entire analysis on that one, but we don't have it open today. It's going to be talked about in the next stream. I forgot to open it up right now, so we'll talk about that later, but it's interesting, all right? So this specifically, this death cross that's building up right now, make sure you understand that Bitcoin can dump because of it. Right here as well, I believe that this breakout towards the downside wasn't actually that significant. It was just mostly fueled by fuddy news, like, for example, Trump's stance, China, and all that type of stuff. But the fact that we broke out and everybody was watching that same thing is what pushed the price down lower. And again, this confirmation even was a fake out. This entire thing was a fake out because right now we're just trading back into it. And we're just waiting to see what the price is going to do next because we're itching closer towards a definite breakout, right? Right now is one of the most important points for Bitcoin / crypto in a very long while. Understand that. By the way, we have 350 people watching and just 38 likes pressed. If you haven't pressed that like button, just make sure you press it to help the channel out. Doesn't cost you anything and just helps the YouTube algorithm a little bit, or helps the video perform in the YouTube algorithm. That's all you're doing. So I appreciate it a ton, and thank you so much if you just press that button. You're amazing. You're an amazing human being. And then this article is kind of funny. Bitcoin climbs back above $38,000 on Basel news. Well, yeah, these things really don't last long, huh? No, because right now we are back at 36.5. We hit what was it now? 38.5 earlier today. 38.5. We're already down $2,000 per freaking Bitcoin. And sometimes I also like to think about it from another perspective. You know how freaking awful some of these billionaires must feel? People who became billionaires with crypto must see their money just fluctuate with tens of millions of dollars every single day. It's interesting to me. I mean, of course they're convinced that their crypto is going to go up longer term. I mean, that's a given. That's surely 1,000% sure. But still, it's it's still something kind of funny that I don't often think about. Now, buyers aren't giving up just quite yet, as the balance of the swing region at around $32,000 starts to look for more upside, helped by the Basel news earlier here. So what this is referring to is right there. Let's quickly see if we can. Basel Committee proposes first bespoke capital rules for cryptocurrency assets. Okay. Treatment of stablecoins in line with assets such as stocks and bonds. Banks need to set aside enough capital to cover any losses in Bitcoin in full. And 1,250, I'm assuming it's 1,250, might be European rules here where it's 1,250. Whatever. Let's do 1,250 risk weight proposed to be applied to banks' exposure to Bitcoin. Come on, cryptos. And that puts Bitcoin in the highest risk category in terms of banking capital exposure, and in practice means that banks will need to hold $1 in capital for each dollar worth of Bitcoin holdings, based on the 8% minimum capital requirement, that is. The proposed here isn't taking effect yet. The proposal here isn't taking effect just yet, as it will be open to public comment first, with the committee noting that these policies may change several times as the market evolves, and that allows room for some tokens to perhaps see lower capital requirements. Okay, so this is just a capital requirements change, but then in Basel, the Basel Committee, I'm not sure exactly what region this stands for. Maybe it's just the Basel, because it says Basel Committee. I'm not exactly sure what region, though, that this fully applies for, or what exactly they cover. Maybe it's just Basel then again. That could definitely be the case. Now, this one, I'm not sure if that's really that big of a deal or that bullish. I guess what it refers to kind of is like one of the videos I made earlier yesterday, talking about the regulation wave that is about to come, right? Hopefully you guys all saw that. If you didn't, still time to check it out. I still can recommend it. So in that video, we basically discussed that right now we got freaking, what's the name? Well, I'm almost messing up. What's the freaking name, man? We got. Oh, there we go. El Salvador. There we go. Okay, so here it was. I got you. No worries. This video right here about the snowball effect was basically referencing the fact that El Salvador is first to do all of this. However, there's going to be so many more countries now that this has happened that are going to be considering Bitcoin as legal tender, or who are going to be getting some proper rules in throughout the next couple of weeks, most likely, because every country wants to be, soon after the first, basically. Not that many countries want to be first in something as important as this, because if you're first, you have a lot of chances to do something wrong. You want to see how that country is doing, and then, propose your own ideas akin to it. And I believe that a lot of countries right now are looking at El Salvador as well, and seeing how it's turning out to be a really bullish thing, a really positive thing, and will adjust accordingly. This is just kind of a starter proposal for it. I mean, I'm not sure if the exact percentages are a good or bad thing. I can't really say. I guess it's just for safety requirements. Then again, them being so adaptive towards it is a nice thing, and it just shows they're probably fixing something here. They're working something out to get the main adoption rolling out, and I really, really like that. Now, moving on. Bitcoin jumps more than 13% after El Salvador passes law to adopt it as legal tender. Mind you, very much so, that I have covered this in the last couple of days, but I will definitely be covering this more often, the whole El Salvador ordeal. Because we all know that this announcement was one of the most groundbreaking announcements in cryptocurrency to date. Bitcoin being considered legal tender is such a bullish or such a huge thing, and I really sincerely hope that the US is going to follow soon. Now, if we take a look at the Ripple versus SEC case, again, kind of looking at the US government like that, I kind of feel as if they're not going to get a rulebook going quickly. Then again, I'm not exactly sure how long Gary Gensler has left in office. It's most likely not that long. And I do believe that a part of his legacy, at least, must be to properly regulate crypto or set some rulebook for it in place, or do something with those green cryptos or something like that. Not exactly sure which of the ones he wants to go for, but there's gotta be something coming up, right? There's got to be. At least in the US, I'm hoping. Then again, when exactly? Yeah, that's a very, very good question. When exactly, nobody knows. Nobody really knows, but it has to be coming up. That's the only part that we know. And I'm just sitting behind my computer here waiting for the day they drop an announcement. Over in the US, that would be so huge. That would echo towards every freaking where if that could really pull through. Then again, that's something which we can only hope for, guys. We can only hope for. Now, there's also one thing which I kind of want to cover that I'm not sure exactly where to place in. I've had this open for a little while here, but I wasn't exactly sure where to put it into. It's this one right here. China arrests over 1,100 suspects in crackdown on crypto-related money laundering. Okay, so to be honest, these types of articles are not that important for you specifically, for your price or anything like that. The reason this is important to talk about specifically is because, if you think about it, one thing that these regulators and these news articles are doing deliberately, on purpose, is to make it so that crypto is regarded as some really sketchy or really fraudulent space. I'm not exactly sure who said it just now. Maybe it was freaking Trump, maybe it was Elizabeth Warren or something like that, who said that crypto is actually mostly used for illegal transactions and illegal transfers of money. If you really look at the percentages, cash is so much worse, and crypto really is a very small percentage is illegal activity, and just, it's only a matter of perspective. If you're going to ask the question, is there illegal stuff in the crypto space, you're going to get the answer, yes, obviously. However, if you're going to say, is every politician, okay, let's not go into the politician things, right? Let's not dive too deep into that one today. But if you were to look at any other market, though, there's always illegal activity. So that really makes absolutely no sense. And I would firmly like to put here that if the US, if any of these other countries that are worried about this specific sense, like China, just put up proper regulations where it's allowed, but just proper regulations so people know exactly what they're worth and exactly what is and what isn't allowed, that this would be drastically altered, that this would be drastically lower, as there wouldn't be as much of an opportunity to do all of this. There wouldn't be as much of an incentive either because, well, if every transaction is just properly regulated, then you wouldn't have the problem like this. Then again, there would always be some, but it would be drastically lower if they were to just make a proper rulebook, but they don't want to. I'm not exactly sure why, but they just do not want to. And it's frustrating. Then again, it's the way that things go, right? It's the way that things go. So we have another one here. We have another article. Just in, Bitcoin may be deemed asset class in India, following suit of El Salvador. And I would like to just kind of take a little clap right there. Take a little clap because of what we were talking about earlier and how this is moving along. I think it's interesting. I think it is really interesting. India may finally lift its crypto ban after El Salvador has adopted Bitcoin, sources say. So how official is this? I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not in India. I don't really have Indian sources, nor do I know if the Indian Express, the new Indian Express is a legitimate source. I have no clue, but citing various top sources from the Indian crypto industry, the new Indian Express has reported that El Salvador's historic embracing of Bitcoin has led the government to consider qualifying Bitcoin as an asset class in the country. You know what would be really funny to me? If India, or China for that matter, after so many negative stances towards Bitcoin, turn around and put a proper rulebook on them before many others. I would just find that really funny if they were to do it, right? Wouldn't that kind of be just, wouldn't that be ironical if they were to be the case? And here's another one. I have it open. Let me quickly see where it is. We have one on Iran. Let me see. Here it is. Iran to legalize crypto as soon as possible, says President. You already know. This snowball effect we were referring to, it's out there. It is surely out there. It's just a matter of you believing it as of this point. But it is, all right? It definitely is. Somebody in the chat box is saying, Dusty, been meaning to ask something about XRP. If when Spark comes out, would that increase XRP price in any way? To be honest, I'm not sure why it would. The only reason you could say it should is because it adds extra utility to the XRP ledger. Anybody holding XRP now has this utility over Flare, right? Because you can utilize your XP as F assets on Flare. So from that perspective, it might. Then again, I wouldn't bet on it that the price is going to go up the day that Flare launches. I wouldn't personally go for it all the way. So am I putting my money on it? No. I think it's just going to stay neutral and mostly follow Bitcoin's course like normally. Then again, I might be wrong, right? In the end, who knows about all of this stuff? It's a really funny game, right? To just kind of try to predict that type of stuff. Two most important things right now. Actually, one other macroeconomical factor for Bitcoin specifically, of course, was this 21 weekly EMA. Almost anybody was talking about this. So from a weekly perspective, here we have the 21 weekly EMA. The majority of the people were saying that if we close below this, we are going to be seeing some very negative price action or a bearish run. Well, we closed below it by a significant margin, yet here we are. We're actually picking up the pace yet again, and the way it's currently standing over this last week or so, we are actually building. If you look at it from a daily perspective, it might look kind of horrifying or not that nice, not that good. Then again, it's also debatable. You can actually still see it not as a triangle, but actually as a kind of a horizontal moving line. As you can definitely see it as a kind of a rectangle, right? Like a box that we are going, because it's literally sideways action that we are witnessing right now. Then again, on a weekly perspective, it's actually a lot more bullish because it kind of looks like we got one big correction and right now are building it back up, but there's some sort of pressure keeping us down. And that's again why I called this video kind of urgent, is because right now, more than ever, are the regulatory factors playing a role. Like, regulation is something which is always going to stay important in the crypto space. Always, always, always. But what we are witnessing right now is like those early wiggler steps of proper regulation for crypto, and specifically for Bitcoin. The next couple of weeks could be where a ton of these countries are just going to come by and give their opinion as to whether or not it should be legal tender or no. And you guys are saying, what about the death cross? Well, again, I have another video / live stream coming up later today. As I said before, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try to do as many live streams as possible, which might mean that we'll just do a couple of live streams a day. Maybe like, I don't even know how many, but we'll try, because you guys said you prefer live streams over videos whenever possible. So if the internet allows it, which sometimes it might not, but if it allows it, I will do the live streams, all right? So make sure you are subscribed for more of these types of, streams in the near future. I got a lot of cool things planned, all right? Now, we're of course going to cover this death cross as it looms closer and closer by. Right now, we are, I would say, like 3 or 2 days off if the price were to actually move down significantly. Then again, if the price recovers and comes back up, the death cross could be stalled or maybe even missed. Because a miss would basically mean that we don't continue on in the same course. This yellow line, by the way, is the 50 EMA, exponential moving average. It just kind of shows the, let's say average price over the last 50 days. Let's just kind of call it like that. And the 200 day is basically the average price over the last 200 days, basically. You can basically see it as this is the longer term price, this is the shorter term price. If the short term prices are doing worse than the longer term prices, people are calling that bearish. And one analyst, which we like to cover, he actually stated that the price usually moves in kind of an akin fashion. So if the death cross were to happen right here, it will mean that we are down 43%. That would basically mean that from this point on forward, we're going to go down about another 43% or so, leaving the price at about $20,000 or so, only basically all-time high of 2017-18 for Bitcoin. Is this factual? Is this 100% certain? No, this is just what one analyst was saying, and the death cross here might not even occur. And even if it does, the price might not actually go down further, as this is a lagging indicator. What that means is that this one follows along with the price that have already happened. It's not something that can really predict the future on its own. Then again, like we also covered with the 21 weekly EMA, if a lot of people are following this, and also for the breakout to the downside, if everybody is following the same type of indicator, then sometimes the indicator itself gets extra meaning. You know that Fibonacci, these retracements and whatnot, don't really mean anything on its own. It is just because people like to value it that way that they do. You cannot tell me that all of a sudden at those prices, bulls or bears would just like to pick it up because of randomness. No, 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 no. It's either because those are really psychologically nice numbers or because they're using the same type of indicators. Trading is a mental game, but it's also a people's game. You're betting against other people and bigger institutions, but just you're betting against others. You mostly have the same type of information, and then the only thing is, how can you utilize that information better than others? And well, a lot of these bigger guys that are trading with a lot of money know that you're using the same info, and so people will logically react to a breakout towards the downside by doing this type of stuff. And you know that people by getting back to the channel might react in a certain type of way, and another breakout they might react yada yada yada. And then again, that is also fueled by the amounts of FUD that we are seeing. So that again is talking about China and all that type of stuff. Let me quickly see what you guys are saying. Fullerine says, have they even mentioned the airdrop since December on Coinbase? I believe Coinbase is fine. This is talking about Flare. The only exchange which you have to worry about is Binance US. If you have your XRP on Binance US and you wanted FLR, you're going to have to write them an email, I believe, to be able to get it. And by the way, I told you guys all over on Twitter that I'm going to claim my Flare. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I haven't done it. I think I have a couple of hours. If I don't, so be it. The majority of my XRP was on Binance EU when it happened, and there's only a really small part that was on my ledger. So, worst case, I will miss out on that crypto, all right? That's the worst case. But I'm still going to try it, though, guys. I'm still going to try my best to get that money. Don't worry about it. William says, I wouldn't give a ceiling to the price, but for a fact, it'll be over $50 by December if SEC closes in the next few months, statistically. I have no idea what exact statistics you are using, my friend, but, keep up your own thoughts, and, let's hope you're correct on that one, right? But, I can't say that I firmly agree with you. Imran is in the chat box, says, I don't know how about legal tender yet, but if I had to predict, it'll start with taxing transactions. That's a form of acceptance. Well, taxing transactions is a really difficult one. I mean, you can't consider something to be a currency and then tax the transaction unless you're talking about a transfer fee or basically just a fee like you have with the pounds and euros and stuff in the US. Otherwise, what type of fee could they think of on transactions? That would be really odd. I don't think many countries can get that done. It would be really strange. And what you're saying is you would be taxed for? Nah, man. I definitely don't see that happening. My own opinion. Matthew says, is it true the court replied to Ripple's letter they submitted regarding SEC's request for more time? I can't say. I'm not sure if they actually replied to it just quite yet. I could quickly check for you, though, over on Court Listener or on Twitter. We can confirm it for ourselves. No, the last update was about 18 hours ago. We got a SEC and Ripple filed joint letter on proposed redactions and sealing of exhibits. And we got SEC filed a one-page response to Ripple's surreply to the SEC's motion to strike Ripple's fair notice affirmative defense. So no, we do not have a reply from the judge just quite yet, if you were thinking that. So no, we do not. Unfortunately, no. Then I had another article here. Let me quickly see where it is exactly. I have a ton of articles open. I'm just kind of picking and choosing which ones exactly I want to cover that move along with the top subject of right now. Top 3 price prediction. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. Jpmorgan warns of Bitcoin bear market as backwardation mirrors 2018. Once more, let's quickly refer back to it, guys. For all of you that are watching just now, Jpmorgan put up a new report where they're basically explaining how the backwardation that we are seeing right now are akin to what we saw in 2018, and they're literally saying we are expecting a bear market from right now on forward because of this. It's basically because we are following what we did back then, and so we're going to be following it back down. Is it valid? Well, that's again dependent on your own opinion on things. I mean, if you trust Jpmorgan, a bank between brackets, about your crypto predictions, then go right on ahead. I personally really do not value these opinions from these banks too much, but again, that is just me. All right, so Bitcoin price bounces almost 25% from the June 8th low. lifting it near critical resistance. Yes, obviously we are back at some critical resistance for Bitcoin. Specifically, the resistance here was at about 80, I'm freaking dumb. 38.3 or so thousand dollars is the most, a relatively most important resistance, as we can clearly see here, is the top of the triangle basically, and the bottom of the triangle is right here at about 36, or a little bit earlier when it broke out, $35.4 thousand. Right now, I would say that what we need to do is kind of build on this. The triangle can be adjusted a little bit because, I mean, before it used to look like this, now it looks a little bit more like this. It doesn't all really matter too much. It's about the bigger picture of things, and right now it's going to matter. Are we going to break out towards the downside again? A breakout on its own doesn't really matter too much if it's only a shadow. And let's actually zoom in a little bit. If it is only Bitcoin getting below there with just the shadow, so kind of hitting there but not closing, is not a bad thing. It's only going to be bad or strange if we actually close today below about $36,000. So again, guys, if today Bitcoin closes below $36,000, ring your alarm bells, or at least watch the price quite carefully. And then again, maybe take a little bit of a margin. Maybe take it at about $35.7 or so thousand dollars because of how these triangles might not be perfectly drawn in. But if, again, we close below there, make sure you do your own due diligence. Keep watching it closely because that would be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just already warning. Why is it so why is it so freaking twitchy? There we go. Just make sure you watch it carefully because that would mean another breakout towards the downside, and I would not like to see that. Why? Well, we just saw one already. People got some huge panic to get all the FUD. Today we got some Jpmorgan FUD, which is a pretty big deal, even though you guys might not think about it that way. It's a pretty big deal. And that might kind of move on through where, again, people just are going to be throwing FUD on FUD on FUD yet again. Let's quickly see how the triangle over on Bybit is still working. By the way, I get a lot of you guys saying that I'm scamming people or I am lying to people about Bybit, which I think is rather interesting. So one thing I should maybe clear up for a lot of you guys that do not understand is that with Bybit, they literally tell me what the bonuses are. Right? In the comment section, it might say there's a $1,600 or $2,600 bonus. I think that one is over. I think because it ended the end of May. But I'm not sure. Why? Because I'm not sure exactly what the bonuses are currently. I'm just going to be honest with you. I haven't asked. I can't do it. And I was going to do it, but I kind of forgot about it. But no, the bonuses, how exactly you claim them, it's a mystery. I just tell you guys exactly what Bybit officially tells me. So if there's ever a bonus in the comments section in the description, don't think I made it up. It is just what Bybit has told me or whatever other exchange I'm using at that time. All right, if there's ever a bonus, don't think I made it up. It is always them telling me that. So if it's there, you can 100,000% certainly get it. Exactly how though? Sometimes you have to figure it out. But the $2,600 bonus, it's literally on every major crypto YouTuber's thing. Crypto, Mooncarl, check anybody out there. They will all have exactly the same thing because, well, we're given the same info, right? Now, in terms of trading competitions, though, sometimes those are a little bit different, right? For me, for example, I'm the only channel out there that has some specific bonuses in XRP and that has some trading competitions in XRP, which basically means if you're trading XRP, you might get a good bonus once the competition starts. But some other channels will have some other bonuses and some other competitions. Then again, it's generally the same thing if it's a exchange kind of bonus as a whole. So that you quickly know that, right? Then, by the way, did you guys check out my Solana video from earlier? I actually did not get a lot of views on that one. Doesn't really matter to me, but I'm just thinking a lot of people have missed out on the video then. Now, there's a new update that just came out. The founder or CEO has actually shared a roadmap now of what exactly is going to happen. That just came out. This news is fresh. And if you haven't checked out my video about Solana, I do recommend you to just check out my channel real quick. It is right here. Solana bullish 450 million invest, yada, yada, yada. Again, didn't do too good in terms of views, but to me, once more, I'm just telling you, doesn't really matter too much. It's just for your own sake that you might want to know what we talked about in there because Solana, oh, is a pretty big deal right now. It's a pretty big deal that so many people invested in it, and I've changed my mind a little bit. I've gotten a lot more bullish right now on Solana because of this news. So yeah. Then we got some more Bitcoin. Bitcoin miner Hut 8 approved by NASDAQ. MicroStrategy Sailor foresees new listings. Okay. Something I kind of forgot about, not gonna lie to you. Not gonna lie to you. Hazik says, hi Dusty, I'm from Malaysia. Please notice me. What's up, man? Welcome. Hey, where you guys are watching this video from? Or the live stream, I should say. Where you guys are watching this from? Sunshine Act canceled. I mean, those SEC meetings, all those Sunshine meetings, don't worry too much about those, man. We can't really say exactly what is going to be discussed in those. So I would also say take it easy with those ones, man. Take it easy. Now, this one, I've already told you guys before. I am not selling any Bitcoin until Michael Saylor or Elon Musk pulls the trigger. If those guys sell their crypto, I might have to reconsider. But as long as those guys are hodling, I am hodling till the bitter freaking end, like I told you guys earlier. Now, Hut 8 Mining Corporation confirms that its shares are approved for listing on world's second largest exchange, the NASDAQ. Is that the first time that this has happened? I'm not exactly sure, but it's a pretty... I didn't read this article just quite yet. It's just fresh. I just opened it. I believe this article just came out. Now, Hut 8 Mining Corporation is among the oldest and most advanced crypto mining giants of North America. Today, its stocks are available on the Toronto Stock Exchange, while a NASDAQ listing is in the cards. I sometimes do think as well, is it smart, if you don't want to buy mining equipment yourself, to just get a share in a mining company like this? I've thought about it for a little while. I'm not exactly sure what to think about it. By the way, if you are enjoying these daily crypto updates, make sure you press the like button right now. There are 650 people watching, yet there's only 100 likes pressed. Make sure you press that button real quick to help out with the channel. And as I've said before, if you are enjoying these live streams, I recommend you all to subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be doing another live stream later today, and there's going to be a ton of live streams throughout the next week or so. I'm going to just try it out, see how you guys like it, and give me some feedback on it, guys. Give me some feedback. If you want more live streams or more videos, just let me know. I'm going to try to do as many as possible because you guys seem to really enjoy it. But, you know, you have to tell me at least. Maybe I should also have some steady times where I always do a live stream at a set time. So you guys, know what to prepare for. I'm not exactly sure. I always just stream whenever there's news I want to cover. Maybe I should just kind of have some set time so there's some consistency. All right, the announcement we just kind of read already. Hut 8 is approved to list on the NASDAQ Global Select Market, the highest tier of NASDAQ. Trade date details will be provided shortly. Namely, Hut 8 shares will be available on the NASDAQ Global Select Market, which is the highest tier among the NASDAQ offerings. Shares will be available under the Hut ticker, which will be used for the company's shares on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Also, Hut shares can be traded via over-the-counter board OTCQX. This offering is ranked 11th of 10,000 on the 2021 OTCQX Best 50 list. Okay. And then MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor foresees new listings. Founder and By the way, have you guys thought about it? That there's literally no freaking Bitcoin ETF in the US yet? That one also has to come up, man. I actually kind of forgot about that one. The fact that it... yeah. There still needs to be a freaking Bitcoin ETF even. I completely forgot about that one. Founder and CEO of MicroStrategy, the flagship pro-Bitcoin corporation in the US and the largest corporate buyer of the first crypto, congratulates Hut 8 Corp with this approval. He assured that many more Bitcoin miners will see their stocks listed by US stock exchanges, and this in turn will strengthen the positions of Bitcoin itself. The next stage of Bitcoin development will see many Bitcoin miners come public in the United States, providing an additional or added layer of security, integrity, and durability to Bitcoin. Congrats to Hut 8 Mining. At press time, MicroStrategy is holding more than 92,000 Bitcoin on its balance sheet, or 0.5%-ish of the total liquid circulating supply. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is already insane on its own. That MicroStrategy is holding so many freaking Bitcoin, it is insane. Somebody says, what do you think the IPO will do for the price when it happens, Dusty? Are you talking about the XRP price, so the Ripple IPO, or are you talking about some of these other listings that we are referring to in these videos? Which one are you referring to? Let's actually quickly take a little bit of a deeper look at what Bitcoin is doing right now. Ooh, so we are still bouncing up and down within the triangle. Look at that, guys. We had a perfect little bounce right there from the top side and the bottom side here for Bitcoin. Right now coming back up. What are we going to hit next? It's really freaking interesting to watch this right now. It is something you don't see very often. Okay, he says Ripple IPO. I've said it a couple of times before. I'm going to say it again. I believe the Ripple IPO will be a really big thing in the crypto space. Then again, it might take a couple of years for that one to roll out. So it's really difficult to say whether or not we can actually pump more, because it could literally be that XRP is at $10 or $15 or $20, whatever, once that happens, right? It could literally be. By the way, on the hourly, Bitcoin did actually cross over. I'm assuming it's not that big a deal though once it happens on an hourly. Because if you look at that, Bitcoin did cross over. Then again, it's actually a golden cross, by the way. Okay, so Bitcoin just made a golden cross on the 1 hour right there. Here it was the death cross, so the 50 is going under the 200, yes, or aka the 200 is overtaking the 50. This was a death cross right there, and here we got a golden cross happening. It's pretty funny. I'm not sure, maybe it's actually worth it to just take these. For example, here a golden cross, the short term overtaking long term. If we were, for example, just trade those, right? Look at that, could have made some nice profit by just trading the crosses, but it's a lot. You don't see it too often. At least I don't see it too often. It's just happened quite a lot in the last couple of days. Look at this. The last time it happened before that was May 11th. Damn, we saw a death cross here as well, and that's again when things really start to hit the fan and pop off to the downside. Maybe these crosses, even on a shorter term like in 1 hour, are a little bit more significant than we are giving it credit for. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, maybe I should give him more credit than I have done in a really long while here. Maybe I should. Damn. All right. All right, guys. But again, this was actually my stream for right now. I gave you guys all the updates that you needed to hear about. I'm going to try and make them shorter as well, where you guys just get all the info and then I'm out. So again, people could just come on in and get the info and then come back out. Again, there's going to be another stream. I'll put a premiere for it in about an hour and a half, all right? I'm just going to prepare everything that I want to talk about, and then we'll just see you guys again in like an hour and a half or so with some crazy stuff again. But I'll put a premiere for it so you guys can see it a little bit better, all right? So thank you all so much for watching, for stopping by. It was amazing to see you guys all in the chat box. Quickly see if you guys have any questions right now. Hungry, expect 30. Hey Dusty, I see so many news about RippleNet being used more and more. Why isn't that being reflected in the price? Or what would be the critical point of mass adoption needed to see in the price? That's really difficult. For right now, I would say the SEC case is the most important factor of everything. Once we get clarity, we can start thinking about that. And by the way, guys, if you are not subscribed, it's a smart idea to do it now. Just telling you guys, right? Smart idea. Make sure you subscribe to the channel right freaking now, because we're going to do another live stream later today. All right, so once more, put your notifications on if you haven't done that, and see you guys again in a little bit from now. Thank you all so much for